Watermelon, get your watermelon here. Watermelon, ripe to the rind. Get it here and you'll be fine. Watermelon, ripe to the rind. Get it here and you'll be fine. Watermelon! That's what my mother heard every day as my grandfather from Jamaica would walk the streets of Harlem, selling his fruits. She would watch from the apartment window, or she'd sit on the stoop and watch him move. Fast forward, my father, from a little village in Ghana called Chito, very bright, won multiple awards, scholarships, landed him here in North America to study commerce and economics. He landed at NYU in New York City, where he met my mother. My mother loved to dance. So somehow they both ended up at a party at the United Nations. Go figure. There they danced the night away. Fast forward, married, living in Ghana, in Accra. My mother was eating all this delicious food in Ghana, some akle, some kenke, some fufu, just filling her belly up, and all this beautiful music all around, all this free art, music, dance, visual arts, everywhere. She was getting me ready for my life in Ghana. But then something happened. 7 months later, she was feeling ill. So she ended up having to go back to New York City so that if there were any complications, she'd be fine. There, she gave birth to me. At first, I was Zelma Clara Metrova Badu. But as soon as I landed or was born in New York, Brooklyn, New York, I was Zelma Clara Metrova Badu. At least that's what they said in New York. Different accent. So after a few months, when she was ready and I was ready, we flew back to Ghana. And I'm thinking, was that the beginning of my dilemma? Am I inside, outside? Is Ghana home? Is the US home? I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I was only about 5 months old, so who knows? So then, we're living the life. Now I'm eating the food myself. I eat a lot. I love Ghanaian food. So we enjoyed the lifestyle in Ghana, but there was a culture clash. My mother, American, coming from African descent, but nobody knows where. She also was part Caribbean from Jamaica, also Cherokee, and my grandmother from South Carolina. So when I arrived, they called me white baby. I'm like, white baby? Because I was fairer than a lot of them. I was actually fairer than I am now. So I had this title, I'm white baby. But then as culture clashed, my mother being American, my father being Ghanaian, and everybody in the community trying to be a part of it, the family, things kind of broke. And my mother ended up traveling back to the US. I remember being a little toddler, and there I was at the airport. We walked towards the plane. And I watched my parents separate. My father was not happy about it because, as far as he's concerned, in Ghana, the children belong to the man's family. But in the US, it's usually the mother that takes care of the children, at least at that time. As I boarded the plane, I looked through the window, and I saw my family there. I thought about all the food I was missing. Next thing you know, I'm on the plane, and I'm waving to my family. Bye. I'm crossing the Atlantic. I'm moving places. I'll never see them again. I was 2 years old, already traveling around the world. As we got to New York, I had a different lifestyle. All the art, the beauty, the that was around me in Ghana, if I wanted to participate, I had to now pay. I was a new person. I was an American. I had a passport. It said American passport, US. So I'm a different person now. I have a new title. I'm no longer white in Ghana, but I'm black in America. So I was trying to figure out how I fit into this new area. Black. I was told every day I was black. From the news, I realized I was a person who was not part of the majority anymore. I'm a minority, and I was told that every day when I looked in the magazines, when I watched the TV, anything I did, I knew I was not part of the majority anymore. I'm a minority. So as a minority, my mother, she decided, I'm going to raise you as if you're in the majority. So I went to ballet classes and modern dance classes. I did all the typical American things that kids would do at that time. But then she realized, wait a minute, I don't want her to lose her heritage. So she quickly found a job in Ghana. Well, she was a scientist. That wasn't difficult. And then we went back to Ghana because she thought, it's not my fault that culturally things weren't working for them. Maybe it would be better for me. So we went to Ghana. And I quickly tried to fit in. I remember things, the food and everything. I went to school. This was 8 years old. As I went to classes, I realized everybody looks like me, but somehow I don't fit in. I sat in my class. People were laughing at me. I had bangs. Somehow that made me the laughing stock of the whole school. Bangs? Who wears bangs? Where are your braids? So I was trying to assimilate, but for some reason, it was difficult for me. I don't walk the same way. I noticed that in Ghana, there's a sort of spiral walk with the body. And I walk like this. They say in America, the Americans, when they walk around in Ghana, they look like they run the world, they rule the world. And I thought, ooh, I think I do. So I tried to change the way I walk through movement and dance. I can spiral. But still, I didn't really fit in. And after a year and a half, my mother was having issues with the culture, trying to fit in, and things just didn't work. Life happened. So we went back to the US. Right now, I feel like a ping pong ball. So then I'm in New York again. Look at that. I've been here before. You know, even though they don't look like me, we understand each other because we're speaking the same language. So at first, the first part of the school year, somehow I ended up at a parochial school, St. Stephen's Lutheran School. I'll remember that. So I went and I found my way taking the bus and the train in New York City, navigating. I think that's when I actually got my Ph.D. because to navigate through all that at such a young age, you have to be smart. Then, at one point, my aunt, Zelma, said, we're moving. So we moved to another part of Brooklyn, New York, and she ended up working at a school, and my mother and my aunt decided that that's the best place for me to attend, someplace that's close to her new home, and she's there, if I needed some help. Well, by then I was still speaking with this sort of British Ghanaian accent. Wata instead of water. Things like that. So when I went there, for some reason, at the parochial school, they didn't care about that. Their focus was teaching me the golden rules. Don't lie, and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, I realized that in this school, I'll call it PS 181, or PS 181, or Public School 181. They have all these schools with all these acronyms in New York City. I went there thinking that I've got the golden rules. I'm really doing well. I'm excited for this public school. I get there. People are a little not sure because I speak funny. We've got this accent that's not quite British, but they can't even identify it. So then finally, the teacher went out of the room, But before she went, she said, all right, everyone, I'm leaving. I'll be back. Please be quiet, do your readings, be good students. And so we got to reading, and we were chatting. We weren't supposed to chat, but we did anyway. You know, we were kids. And then she came back and said, was anyone speaking? Well, I had just come from the place of the golden rule, so I put up my hands and said, well, I was speaking, and he was speaking, and she was speaking, and they were speaking. And the students looked at me like, who is this girl? And so, you know, the teacher thanked me. But then after class, the student, or the head of the students, came up to me and said, on the last day of classes, you're going down. I'm like, what? And so I thought, they don't really mean that. So we went on and on and on. Last day of classes, I was getting these stares. And I thought, uh-oh, I better be prepared. I took a pencil, I sharpened it, and I said, this is the best I can do. And I really don't want to hurt anyone, but if I have to protect myself, I'll pull it out. So then I'm going, all these students around me, they're coming at me, and then they're moving towards me. And I'm like, okay, I really don't want to hurt anyone, but I'm going to take this and protect myself. And they kept coming, and they kept coming, and I kept coming, and they kept coming, and they kept coming. What did I do? They told me to tell the truth and do unto others as you have them do unto you. I did that. But 181 taught me another rule. Don't be a rat. So these are lessons I learned in New York. So after that time, my mother had finally come back. She stayed in Ghana because she had a contract, so she finally came back. And she came back with someone. I don't know, who's this person? Okay, I remember him, sort of. His name was David Gass. He proposed to her, and they were getting married. But David Gass wasn't a Ghanaian coming from Ghana. David Gass was a white, Irish, Scottish man from Canada, precisely Nova Scotia. They had nothing in common except for common. Maybe they had science in common. But he came, and next thing you know, we're off to Canada, a new life, a new world. So I have my African-American family here in New York. I have my Ghanaian family that I don't really know in Ghana. And then I have this new family. I used to spend my summers in Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. I was learning some Highland fling, a little bit of Irish dance. So anyway, as time went on, I learned more about the culture. My grandfather, or step-grandfather, I called him Papo. It was Mamo and Papo. Papo said, let me teach you some songs. I'm like, okay. Anyone like this? Isa buys a builds a boat. Isa buys a sails a. Isa buys a catches fish and takes a moment to live. Hip your partner sally boat. Hip your partner sally round. Hip your partner sally boat. And all around the circle. Now, I never knew if I was actually singing the correct words, but I love the spirit. So I was settling into this new life as this Ghanaian, African-American, Cherokee, Caribbean, Southern, Black person, now Irish-Scottish. I embraced it. I thought I was special. This is great. But then I realized, okay, most of my friends are now coming from that culture, but I don't have any friends that look like me. And so I was concerned. I asked my mother, I said, Mom, I don't have any friends that look like me. She said, oh, it doesn't matter. You just pick friends who have good quality. It doesn't matter the color. And I said, okay. But then I did come along and meet this girl from Barbados. She was in my class in Montreal, 7th grade. So we hung out. She introduced me to Caribbean food. I was so excited. And then finally, we went to a party. I felt a little uneasy because I wasn't used to the dancing. But eventually at the party, I started feeling it. And I was like, yeah, I'm Caribbean. I'm Jamaican, man. Yeah, look at me. That's who I am. I was feeling good. I was accepted. People came around me. They weren't attacking me this time. They were embracing me. So then, eventually, 11 o'clock, I hear this announcement. Zelma Gas? Is there a Zelma Gas here? Your father's here to pick you up. And I thought, oh no, how embarrassing. Here I am, a teenager, fresh teenager, and my father has embarrassed me. The whole dance scene is like looking at me. So I said, okay. But he came walking through, and then all I could think of, past the embarrassment, was, oh no, he's white, they're black. How am I going to deal with this? As he got closer, all I could think of was this white light parting this sea of black faces, and everyone staring at me as to say, why are you bringing this man in our safe space? And then I realized, oh no, I have a problem. What is my problem? I felt that I was cool with all these different cultures, but deep down inside, I actually wasn't. And then I felt so bad that I actually responded to him, the person that I loved, my only father that I knew. I responded to him in such a way. So then I had to figure out a remedy for this. My mother said, okay, we're going to put gas to the side, we're going to throw Badu back in there. Okay. But then I realized all this worry about inside, outside, this space, that space, I realized the answer was actually within my name. Zelma, Clara, Metrova, Badu. Metrova in Eva means I have come back. And so many ways I have come back. I came back to my culture. I came back to understand other cultures. So why am I fighting? Why am I so disturbed? Why am I trying to label myself inside, outside? I realized that I'm all sides. I've been given a gift. So I realized I had to take my thoughts and change it into looking at the gifts that I've been given. I can go to a UN party. I can hang out in the village. I can hang out in the ghettos of New York City. So it's not about what side you're in. It's about what's inside here. And I've embraced all those cultures, but most of all, I've embraced me and my Ghanaian culture. It's inside me. Thank you very much.